Joining us now to help us better understand this issue is Ali Pardo, the Deputy Communications Director for the Trump campaign. So, Ali, we've seen several times now, for example, when Biden first released his economic policy, the Trump campaign said that he was essentially plagiarizing the Trump policy. And now we see the Biden campaign pivoting on this issue of unrest in inner cities, condemning rioting and looting, but once again, something that the Trump campaign, and President Trump in particular, has been doing for several months now. So is the Biden campaign kind of playing off the successes of the Trump campaign as it takes a trial and error type of approach?
Absolutely. Look, we had Joe Biden hiding in his basement for who knows how many months, not really talking to the American people about the issues that were impacting them day to day. And so when you have Joe Biden hiding and then a president who's leading and out up front and knowing that security and safety and addressing the unrest in our cities is a top priority, of course we're out in front and of course we're leading, and now they're following because we knew coming out of our convention that things felt a little different, that we had momentum on our side, that the American people were listening and heard what the president wanted to do with 4 more years with his America First agenda. That resonated, and people started to realize, you know what? We really wouldn't be safe in Joe Biden's America. And when Joe Biden started to realize that the American people were hearing and believing that, he knew that it was time to do something different. But, you know, it's a little too late, 47 years too late to change his record, to change what he's done. And we're excited about the president having 4 more years moving forward.
And it's an interesting thing to look at, too, because when we turn on our televisions, oftentimes we see the polarization. We see the divisive rhetoric on both sides. Those on the left are those crazy anarchists. Those on the right are racist or whatever else you hear from those pundits in the media. That's really what we see a lot of times. But it's interesting that the two campaigns are striving for the voters in the middle, the moderates who may be on the fence, who maybe feel disenfranchised by current politics. Does this suggest that maybe Americans have a little bit more in common than those in the media will tell us?
Absolutely. What it tells us is that President Trump is going to bring jobs back. President Trump is going to make our communities safer. Those are the issues that people vote on. When you go to vote on Election Day, it's about putting more food on the table for your family. It's about making sure your kids can get to and from school safely. It's about making sure that we have the right choices for our families being made in Washington, D.C. and in the White House. That's what people vote on. That's what got President elected 4 years ago, and that's what's going to get him elected in 2020.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's a broken record to say it at this point, but Americans really do just care about the things that provide their family security, put dinner on their table, things of that nature. They just want to be happy and comfortable in their own lives. And we've talked about it on this show before about how the media, of course, I get it, it's a business, they need ratings, but they've been forced to defend some positions that are otherwise pretty asinine. I mean, the rioting and looting on the streets, that is something that I'm sure if you polled the average American, 95% would say that I don't like local businesses being burned down to the ground who have nothing to do with the issue that you're protesting. I mean, it's kind of a bizarre thing right now, but you speak about President Trump and how he's the best candidate for those people who may be having those conversations at their dinner tables. Why is he the better candidate, in your opinion, for middle-class workers?
Because he's the jobs president. He's going to take care of our energy jobs. He's going to take care of our manufacturing jobs. He's going to make better trade deals to make sure companies are here in America, producing things in America, producing and bringing their jobs and their companies and their business to our hometowns. He's the president who has done that and who's going to continue to do that. When you look and compare that to Joe Biden and the Green New Deal and going back to being energy independent on countries across the globe, that's not going to work. That's not what people in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, and in Pennsylvania want to hear. And that's why the president continues to receive the endorsement of blue-collar manufacturers across the Midwest, and that's why he continues to get the support of police associations across the entire country. People want to know they're safe. People want to know their jobs are safe, and people want to know that our economy is going to be built back better. And you know what? Joe Biden's not the guy who's going to do it, no matter how many times he says it.
And Ali, it's typical in a presidential election where, for example, the Democratic candidate will be a little bit more on the left during the primary in order to reach the base, and then come a little bit more to the center during the general election in order to reach the moderate voters, as typically happens in a presidential race. But it's interesting. Joe Biden, for example, was for completely banning fracking, and now he visits Pennsylvania, says he's no longer on that position. But the most recent pivot, and the most noticeable one, because there's people on soundbite saying otherwise, is this issue of the unrest on the streets. I mean, for so long, the Biden campaign was literally bailing out people who were arrested in Minneapolis. Kamala Harris is on this Colbert show saying that she wants it to continue throughout the election, and now here we have them completely doing a pivot. What does that tell you?
It tells me that the American people know better, right? You can't sit here and refuse to call out Antifa and think that the American people are actually going to believe that you're going to stand up to the left-wing mobs in our cities. Democrat leadership in these cities is refusing the help of President Trump, is refusing to stand up to the radicals within their own party. Hey, look, when the radicals are writing your policies, you're not going to stand up to the other radicals in your party who are burning the streets across our country. So, I mean, the reality is people aren't gonna give Joe Biden the chance in the White House because they see what the Democrats are doing right now, and it's not keeping us safe. It's not putting our jobs and our security first, and it's not taking care of the people at home.
I think you're right. I think the American people see through this stuff. I mean, so often we're having these conversations in the media with those in Washington, and the people in the everyday America, they see through this. They know that the reason why a pivot is happening. They know that politicians respond to polls. They know that they just want to continue the status quo. I don't think they're as dumb as many politicians think. And when you take a complete 180, the American people take notice of something like that. But Ali Pardo, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight, breaking down where we stand in the 2020 race. Thank you.